Have you ever feared nighttime simply because each night your biological clock goes off like an alarm bell, forcing you to stagger out of bed and feel your way down a dark hallway to make it to the bathroom? That scene repeats 4 or 5 times until at dawn you lie wide-eyed staring at the ceiling, wondering, what on earth is happening inside my body? Many people swiftly blame age or a weak bladder. But behind that persistent nocturia is a metabolic storm silently driven by blood sugar. And that storm is knocking on the doors of millions of diabetic patients. When blood glucose runs high, the kidneys must hurriedly filter sugar all night, drawing water from tissues into the bladder, while the bladder's nerves, already exhausted by chronic hyperglycemia, send false signals making you feel the urge to urinate even when your bladder is not truly full. The ADH hormone weakens and can no longer retain water. Cortisol spikes around 2 to 3 a.m., mobilizing yet more glucose, so the body is forced to eliminate sugar through urine. That vicious cycle shatters sleep, depriving the brain of restorative oxygen, fogging memory, sending morning blood pressure soaring, worsening insulin resistance, and quietly eroding kidneys and heart without a sound. But the good news is, you can break this cycle without another diuretic pill or sleeping medication. Welcome to Healthy Dynamics, where we transform the question, why am I getting up to pee at night, into a simple, science-backed action plan. In today's video, I will show you 4 inexpensive, easy-to-find grocery items, each capable of taming the post-dinner glucose surge, bringing nighttime blood pressure back into its physiological range, soothing bladder nerves, and easing the burden on your kidneys. We will dissect each mechanism step by step in this video. Once the full picture is clear, you will understand that the solution does not lie in dry pills, but in treating your body gently and intelligently with the right foods every day. Stay tuned until the very end, pick the easiest remedy, try it for 7 consecutive nights, and prepare to greet your first morning waking refreshed, with a clear mind and your glucose meter showing a pleasant number, all thanks to a very small change at dinner tonight. I don't want you to wait any longer, so let's begin right now. 1. Almonds, the nut that fights insomnia and insulin resistance. Almonds are among the few foods regularly recommended by nutrition experts, endocrinologists, and diabetes prevention centers, especially for older adults. Almonds are not just a crunchy snack. They are a natural remedy that helps you sleep better and control nighttime blood sugar extremely effectively. As we all know, nighttime sleep is a crucial period for human health, especially for people with diabetes. Let's begin with why almonds can have such a positive effect. First, the nutritional composition of almonds is very special. They are rich in magnesium, a mineral that soothes the central nervous system, reduces involuntary muscle spasms, particularly around the bladder, where nighttime urination often causes insomnia. Magnesium also increases cellular insulin sensitivity, thereby improving glucose metabolism and stabilizing blood sugar, especially after dinner, when blood sugar can spike due to slower digestion. In addition to magnesium, almonds provide tryptophan, an amino acid that serves as a precursor to serotonin and melatonin. Serotonin stabilizes mood and reduces stress, while melatonin is the sleep hormone that helps the body enter a deep rest state. These 2 factors are critical for sleep quality, particularly in older adults who often have shorter circadian cycles, wake up frequently at night, and struggle to return to sleep. By supplementing natural tryptophan from almonds, the body can restore its endogenous sleep-regulating mechanisms in a sustainable way without relying on sleeping pills. Furthermore, the unsaturated fats in almonds also contribute to blood sugar stabilization. Unlike carbohydrates or simple sugars, unsaturated fats slow digestion, thereby preventing sharp post-meal blood sugar spikes. This is especially useful in the evening when the pancreas functions less effectively and the liver tends to produce excess glucose during sleep. Eating a moderate amount of almonds after dinner helps protect the pancreas overnight, reducing the burden of insulin production and preventing sudden nighttime blood sugar rises, commonly seen in people with high HbA1c levels. Moreover, plant-based protein in almonds is essential for maintaining muscle mass in older adults, a group prone to muscle loss due to natural aging. Muscles not only facilitate movement, but also act as the second glucose reservoir after the liver. When muscles are healthy, the body has an additional safe storage site for glucose, reducing pressure on the circulatory system and improving overall blood sugar control. So, how should almonds be consumed properly? The answer lies in dosage and timing. Many studies recommend that adults, especially those with diabetes, eat about 10 to 12 almonds per day, roughly 28 grams. However, the key point is timing. Consume almonds in the evening, about 1 to 2 hours after dinner, when digestion has stabilized and the body is preparing for rest. At that time, almonds act as a natural buffer, helping to keep blood sugar stable throughout the night and naturally increasing melatonin levels without causing dependency. An important note is to choose unsalted almonds that are lightly dry roasted, never fried in oil or roasted with seasonings. Excess sodium in nuts can cause water retention and raise blood pressure, while industrial frying oils break down the healthy fats in almonds, turning a beneficial food into a source of vascular inflammation. Many patients at U.S. diabetes centers have tried adopting this simple habit and recorded positive changes. They sleep more soundly, wake up less for nighttime urination, wake up clear-headed in the morning, and their fasting blood sugar levels gradually decrease. No longer do they feel exhausted before breakfast, and they no longer experience unusual sugar cravings in the middle of the night. All thanks to one seemingly simple habit: eating a few almonds each night. As you can see, sometimes controlling blood sugar is not about taking more medication, but rather about choosing what to eat before bed. In a world where food is often misjudged, almonds stand as a vivid testament to the power of natural nutritional therapy. A small nut, but one that can transform both your sleep quality and your body's response to insulin. 2. Steamed pumpkin, a food that supports the pancreas and kidneys. In the list of natural foods that help regulate blood sugar and protect vital organs, pumpkin, a humble, inexpensive food rich in biological value, deserves a central position. It is no coincidence that Texan traditional Eastern medicine and even modern clinical studies in the West both recognize the role of pumpkin in regulating blood sugar, nourishing the pancreas, and even supporting kidney function. The first distinguishing feature to mention is pumpkin's high beta-carotene content. This is a precursor of vitamin A that acts as a powerful antioxidant. In the context of older adults with diabetes, who often face chronic inflammation and oxidative stress in pancreatic cells, beta-carotene serves as a biological shield that helps prevent cellular structural damage. This is particularly important because the pancreas is the organ responsible for producing insulin, the essential hormone that transports glucose from the blood into cells. When pancreatic cells are inflamed, degenerate, or damaged by excess glucose, the capacity to secrete insulin diminishes sharply, leading to increasingly severe insulin resistance. Therefore, supplementing with a food like pumpkin helps neutralize free radicals, soothe inflammation, and at the same time, allow pancreatic cells to have the opportunity to self-repair and restore endocrine function. Moreover, pumpkin contains a specific group of polysaccharides, complex carbohydrate chains that can directly intervene in glucose metabolism. In particular, many studies have shown that the polysaccharides in pumpkin can increase the sensitivity of insulin receptors on cell membranes, making it easier for cells to take in glucose. In other words, they sharpen the insulin key that has been rusted by resistance, opening the cellular door again so that glucose is metabolized rather than accumulating in the blood. Thanks to this mechanism, regular pumpkin consumers tend to experience reduced post-meal blood sugar spikes, which are a leading cause of complications in diabetic patients. A less obvious but important advantage is that pumpkin is also kidney-friendly, an organ that silently bears the consequences of prolonged high blood sugar. Long-term diabetic patients often face kidney complications because glucose damages the tiny blood vessels in the glomeruli, leading to reduced blood filtration capacity, toxin buildup, and even the need for dialysis in end-stage disease. Thanks to its anti-inflammatory properties and support for blood circulation to kidney tissue, pumpkin can slow the progression of kidney cell destruction, especially when combined with a low-sodium, low-animal protein diet. In practical use, steamed pumpkin is preferred over fried or oil-sautéed pumpkin because steaming does not destroy the polysaccharide structure and retains all the beneficial vitamins and minerals. The ideal serving is about half cup of steamed, tender-cooked pumpkin, equivalent to 75 to 100 grams, eaten in the evening before 7 p.m. to avoid putting nighttime pressure on the pancreas. Do not add sugar, honey, or dairy butter to the pumpkin because the food itself already has a natural sweetness and a moderate amount of carbohydrates, which help you feel full longer without causing a sudden rise in blood sugar. For many older adult patients living in the U.S., where convenient, processed foods abound, returning to simple dishes like steamed pumpkin not only brings health benefits, but also reconnects with a slow, healing lifestyle. Many Asian American community members in California, Texas, or Florida have shared that maintaining the habit of eating pumpkin 3 to 4 times per week not only helps them keep blood sugar stable, but also soothes feelings of fullness, improves sleep, and reduces leg swelling, symptoms commonly seen when the kidneys are affected by diabetes. If you are looking for a gentle, effective, and safe way to support blood sugar control while easing the burden on both the pancreas and the kidneys, then steamed pumpkin is the essential companion in your daily kitchen. No elaboration is needed. Just a bit of perseverance, one right choice each evening, and you can give your body the chance to heal itself from within. 3. Whole oats. Slow carb absorption, reduced overnight kidney strain. In the journey of natural blood sugar recovery and control, one food often underestimated, yet possessing exceptional biological power is whole oats. Unlike refined grains, whole oats, especially in the form of steel-cut oats, retain their bran layer rich in soluble fiber while preserving many important nutrients that can positively impact both blood sugar and sleep. 2 core factors that determine quality of life in people with diabetes. The most notable component of whole oats is beta-glucan, a viscous fiber that forms a gel layer in the stomach, slowing the digestion and absorption of carbohydrates. While refined foods cause glucose to flood the bloodstream rapidly, creating dangerous post-meal blood sugar spikes, oats act like a net that slows absorption, allowing blood sugar to rise gradually and stabilize. For older adults, especially those living alone with little physical activity or irregular diets, minimizing post-meal blood sugar fluctuations is the key to reducing the risk of chronic complications. But oats are more than a remedy for blood sugar. This humble grain also contains a compound few would expect: melatonin, the sleep-regulating hormone. Although not present in as high a concentration as in cherries or milk, when combined with the vitamin B6 found in oats, the body is supported in producing serotonin, the crucial precursor that leads to endogenous melatonin secretion. In other words, eating oats in the evening can help older adults enter deep sleep naturally, without needing sleeping pills. This is extremely important for people with diabetes, because studies have shown that poor sleep quality can increase insulin resistance, causing the body to respond poorly to glucose the next morning. Moreover, Whole oats serve as a biological cushion, protecting the kidneys overnight. Many diabetic patients experience heightened kidney filtration at night. When blood sugar rises after dinner, the body is forced to excrete excess glucose via urine, placing strain on the kidneys. However, by slowing carbohydrate absorption, oats help reduce the post-meal blood sugar peak, thus decreasing nighttime urination and protecting the kidney's microvasculature from prolonged glucose stress. Using oats effectively requires no elaborate preparation. A bowl of thin porridge made from 3 to 4 tablespoons of whole oats, not rolled or instant oats, combined with a few walnuts or ground flax seeds, not only supplies fiber and healthy fats, but also enhances blood sugar stabilization. The ideal time to consume this is about 2 hours before bed, when the body has finished digesting dinner and is preparing to rest for the night. This dish should not include added sugar, honey, or sweetened condensed milk, so as not to disrupt the natural blood sugar balancing mechanism that oats provide. In the US, many older adults have tried the evening oat therapy and observed significant improvements. Barbara, a Mexican-American woman living in Houston, shared, "I used to wake up 2 to 3 times each night feeling thirsty and needing to urinate. But since eating oat porridge before bed, my sleep has become continuous. And in the morning, my glucose meter readings are always stable. Sometimes so good that I double-check because I can't believe how nice the numbers are." It is precisely the combination of slowed glucose absorption, stimulation of the serotonin-melatonin pathway, and reduced overnight kidney filtration strain that makes whole oats a golden dish for people with diabetes, especially in later life. Although not an expensive superfood, oats are steadily proving that sometimes the greatest transformation comes from the simplest things, provided you know the right time, the right way, and maintain consistency each day. 4. Spinach, the nighttime ally for kidneys and blood pressure. If almonds help soothe the nervous system, pumpkin restores the pancreas, and oats stabilize blood sugar waves, then spinach is the silent savior of the renal vascular system in later life, especially during the nighttime hours, when the body must strain to filter blood, regulate vessel pressure, and maintain uninterrupted sleep. Most elderly diabetic patients focus on a low-sugar breakfast and a reduced-starch lunch, but often overlook dinner and the nighttime period. In fact, it is precisely during that quiet interval that blood pressure tends to swing wildly. The kidneys work harder to filter glucose residue, and the bladder becomes irritable, leading to nighttime urination, insomnia, and energy depletion the next day. A simple plate of quickly sautéed spinach can unravel many of those biological knots. What gives spinach its special power is its quartet of minerals and micronutrients: potassium, magnesium, folate, and lutein, accompanied by just enough vitamin C. First, the natural potassium in the green leaves regulates the intracellular sodium-potassium balance. In older adults, a diet inadvertently high in sodium, from packaged foods, cheese, sauces, can lead to sodium retention and elevated nighttime blood pressure. Supplementing with a natural, sugar-free source of potassium at dinner pulls excess sodium from the tissues, relaxes blood vessels, balances physiological nighttime blood pressure, and most importantly, reduces the volume of blood the kidneys must filter each minute. Without repeated high pressure, the renal microvessels rest, and the progression of diabetic kidney degeneration slows noticeably. Second, the magnesium in spinach is in an organic form that is easily absorbed. Unlike magnesium oxide tablets that often cause loose bowels, magnesium from green leafy vegetables enters the bloodstream gradually, maintaining stable levels until dawn. Magnesium is an electrical conductor. When magnesium is sufficient, bladder nerves are stabilized, involuntary contractions decrease, and the phenomenon of needing to use the bathroom every 2 hours improves. Magnesium also lessens the barrage of awakening signals to the prefrontal cortex. the region that fully awakens you after each nighttime bathroom trip. The result: deeper, more continuous sleep, and more stable fasting blood sugar the next morning thanks to a moderate dawn cortisol surge. Third, folate, a nutrient typically mentioned in the context of pregnancy, is actually essential for elderly diabetic patients. Folate helps regenerate red blood cells, reduce homocysteine levels, a factor in arteriosclerosis, and supports methionine metabolism in the liver, thereby reducing endothelial oxidative stress. For the kidneys, high homocysteine is a silent killer that stiffens vessel walls. Folate in an evening plate of spinach acts like sunscreen for renal blood vessels. Finally, lutein, the yellow pigment in dark green leaves, though famous for protecting the macula in the eye, is also a powerful anti-inflammatory that scavenges free radicals generated when glucose oxidizes. Combined with vitamin C, about 28 milligrams per 100 grams of fresh spinach, lutein boosts retinal circulation and prevents cataracts, the vision complication that many diabetic patients fear most. Clear vision at dawn is a tremendous psychological motivator that encourages them to continue healthy eating habits. When spinach is included in the evening meal, potassium begins to pull sodium out of cells and gently lowers blood pressure. Magnesium seeps into bladder nerve synapses, relaxing smooth muscle. Folate silently neutralizes homocysteine. Lutein and vitamin C sweep away roaming ROS. As a result, the kidneys reduce excessive filtration rates, the bladder sends fewer involuntary contraction signals, the brain's vessels are lubricated with sufficient oxygen, and blood pressure returns to physiological nighttime norms. The combined outcome is an extended deep sleep cycle, dawn cortisol that does not spike, and more stable fasting blood sugar. The ideal recipe for elderly individuals is: quickly sauté a handful of spinach, about 70 to 80 grams fresh, with 1 teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil and 1 clove of minced garlic. The garlic contributes allicin to lower blood sugar, and the olive oil provides mufas that aid lutein absorption and vitamin K uptake. Stir only over moderate heat for 90 to 120 seconds, just enough to reach a barely wilted state, preserve the green color, and avoid destroying vitamin C. Serve with 150 grams of steamed salmon or butter-baked tilapia to create a light, nutrient-rich, low-sugar, and low-sodium dinner. The best timing is before 7 p.m. Allow at least 2 hours before bedtime so the stomach can process and prevent reflux in older adults with weakened diaphragms. Note for patients with stage 3 or higher kidney disease, potassium amounts should follow your doctor's specific recommendation. In that case, you can still consume spinach, but reduce the portion size, steam it briefly, and discard the first cooking water to lower free potassium. Those on anticoagulant medication should inform their doctor, since spinach is rich in vitamin K. However, the overall benefit of a natural, consistently consumed vitamin K intake usually outweighs the risk of unregulated warfarin dose fluctuations. A plate of spinach at dinner is neither costly nor elaborate, yet it offers a micronutrient ecosystem that soothes nighttime blood pressure, lets the kidneys rest, protects the eyes, links sleep cycles, and prevents morning blood sugar swings. Add a teaspoon of olive oil, a clove of garlic, a piece of steamed fish, and you have just completed the most powerful natural prescription for the aging body. Before bidding farewell in today's video, I want to share with you a true story about a friend of mine, Mr. Clark James, 72 years old, living in the suburbs of Grand Rapids, Michigan. An exemplary face of the American baby boomer generation who has entered the long-term phase of living with type 2 diabetes. For nearly 10 years since receiving his diagnosis, he followed his glucose-lowering medication faithfully, checking A1C every 6 months, but still suffered from waking up 3 or 4 times a night to urinate, waking up groggy, and noticeable short-term memory decline. In February of this year, his routine checkup showed his A1C remained at 7.4%. Nighttime blood pressure fluctuated at 150-90 mmHg, and his glomerular filtration rate had begun to drop below 60. His endocrinologist suggested that he try changing only his evening snack, instead of immediately increasing his medication dosage. The suggested formula was very simple. A bowl of thin porridge made from 3 tablespoons of whole oats, stirred together with 10 roasted unsalted almonds, plus half a cup of steamed soft-cooked pumpkin, eaten before 8 p.m., and absolutely no cookies, milk, or sweet fruit afterward. The accompanying rationale was, the beta-glucan from oats would slow glucose absorption, the almonds would provide magnesium and tryptophan to soothe the nerves, and the pumpkin polysaccharides would lubricate insulin receptors, all working together to lower the post-dinner glucose spike, while the fiber would keep him lightly satiated without feeling full. Mr. Clark was skeptical because he had tried all kinds of whole grain cereals before without noticing a difference, but he decided to apply it seriously, treating it as his final test before accepting a higher medication dose. The first week passed, and the first thing he noticed was not blood sugar, but his sleep. Instead of jolting awake at 1 a.m. to use the bathroom, he extended it to 3 a.m. The number of nighttime bathroom visits dropped to 2. He still felt tired, but his mind was less foggy. By the second week, his internal clock continued to improve. He woke only once, and this time, after going to the bathroom, he could immediately fall back asleep, rather than tossing and turning for over an hour as before. By the third week, the milestone his doctor also anticipated, he recorded in his health journal. I slept soundly for 7 hours, first time in many years. In the morning, I woke up without a heavy head, my hands did not tremble, and I clearly remembered my wife asking me to buy batteries yesterday. His personal glucose meter showed his 6 a.m. blood sugar had fallen from 148 milligrams per deciliter to 118 milligrams per deciliter. His nighttime blood pressure recorded by his wearable device dropped to 132.78 mmHg, and his overnight oxygen saturation improved by 2 points. He scheduled his follow-up appointment earlier than planned, and the lab results after 3.5 weeks confirmed his A1C had fallen to 6.8%. His serum creatinine had slightly decreased and his GFR remained stable. The doctor decided to keep his medication unchanged, no dosage increase, while encouraging him to continue the oat-almond-pumpkin porridge ritual in the evening and suggesting adding spinach or salmon twice a week to bolster potassium and omega-3. Interestingly, as his sleep improved, Mr. Clark also found he no longer craved donuts in the morning. His taste buds seemed to reset once the nighttime glucose spikes were eliminated. His story spread through the senior community group locally. Many members began copying the Clark Bowl dinner into their own evening menus and kept sleep journals, yielding similar results. Fewer nighttime bathroom visits, no more morning irritability, and smoother fasting blood sugar. At 72, Mr. Clark said he was not pursuing the latest dieting trend, but simply treating his pancreas and kidneys gently after decades in which they had borne a diet rich in trans fats, refined sugars, and excess sodium. He concluded during a June sharing session, "Medication is a lifeline, but if every evening I keep pouring water into the boat by eating wrong, how can the lifeline keep bailing me out forever? Instead of waiting for the doctor to increase the dose, I cut sugar right at dinner, giving my body a chance to self-repair." The miracle is, it responded very quickly, in just 3 weeks. The lesson is clear. You do not always need more medication to control diabetes and nighttime urination. The body will respond positively when nourished correctly and consistently. Half a cup of pumpkin, a few tablespoons of oats, 10 almonds, small details repeated day after day were enough to transform sleep, blood sugar, blood pressure, and even morning mood for a 72-year-old. And if it worked for Mr. Clark, there is no reason we shouldn't give our bodies the same chance starting tonight. Our journey From almonds that fight insomnia, to pumpkin that restores the pancreas, oats that stabilize glucose waves, to spinach that reassures the kidneys, reveals a simple truth. The body does not demand miracles, but rather the wise repetition of small things. As long as you believe in the power of innate repair, persist each evening with a plate of greens, each morning with a handful of nuts, you have rewritten your own blood sugar story. Quietly, but sustainably, and with great humanity. When you place these 4 pieces side by side, you see a resonance pattern. Almonds and oats work together to nourish sleep. Pumpkin and oats pair to stabilize glucose. Spinach serves as logistics for the kidneys and blood vessels. All of them reduce the frequency of nighttime urination, lessen thirst, and curb the dawn cortisol surge. In other words, these are not 4 bullets hitting 4 separate targets, but rather 4 notes harmonizing into a symphony that returns to the body the right to self-balance. The most valuable thing is that all 4 are easy to purchase, affordable, quick to prepare, compatible with both American and Asian palates, and can be rotated throughout the week so as not to become monotonous. The only thing missing is the decision to act on your part. So be honest with yourself. Among these 4 foods, which choice do you find easiest to start with? A handful of unsalted roasted almonds tonight? Half a cup of steamed pumpkin added to your plate of greens? A warm bowl of oatmeal before bedtime? Or a plate of spinach, sautéed with garlic and olive oil alongside a piece of salmon? Simply maintain consistency for 7 days, and you will give your body the chance to demonstrate its capacity for recovery that medication cannot replicate. Fasting blood sugar in the morning may be lower, sleep deeper, throat less dry, and memory less foggy. Choose a name right now, write it down, and leave a comment below this post. Healthy Dynamics will accompany you, remind you, answer questions, and compare results before and after 7 days. Because great change always begins with a very small decision, repeated each evening, each meal, each day, until your body speaks up. Thank you, I'm getting better.